So I just want to start with actually why do we need water? In utero, we're surrounded by water. And when babies are born, they are 70% water. That is because water promotes growth. Children and babies need lots of water to be able to grow. And I'm sure you're all familiar that children who don't get water actually become stunted to an extent. As you progress, the amount of water in the body proportionately goes down because growth slows down. We need water obviously to stay healthy, to stay fit. It is a major constituent of all tissues apart from fat. I'm sure you all know fat and water don't mix. When I say fat, I don't mean adipose tissue. I mean purely fat. When we put on weight, we don't just put on fat, we also put on adipose tissue because that fat's contained in cells. And everything has to grow at the same time. But it's a major constituent of muscles. And we obviously need it for things like digestion and absorption. I'm sure you all know that if we don't have enough fluid, fibre can't work. You become constipated because the way that that works is to absorb water, to expand, to press against the bowel wall, to stimulate peristalsis, to eliminate feces. And obviously, it's a transport medium in the blood and in terms of excreting nitrogen products, urea, in the urine. One thing you may not know is it's actually in synovial fluid in the joints as well. So I think you can see it is implicit to our life and our health. Thermoregulation is one which is particularly important for children. We thermoregulate by sweat. That's one of our mechanisms. There are other mechanisms, but that's one of our mechanisms. And dogs don't sweat, so they pant. And so, we all have different animals have adapted in different ways. But it's important that we are able to sweat to be able to thermoregulate. I think this is probably what will interest most people in the audience, is cognition in children. There isn't the evidence for this, unfortunately, for very good reasons. How do you actually dehydrate a child? It's unethical. It's unethical to do it actually in an adult. And what is done is you put adults under heat, stress, or exercise, which makes them dehydrate. And we have a lot of evidence from adults, young adults, particularly I think it's university students. They all want to earn a bit of money, so they volunteer to do these studies. And what they're showing is that people who are dehydrated to any extent, really, well, certainly, coming down to 5% levels of dehydration, their memory, concentration, and attention span and arithmetic ability are reduced when they are dehydrated. But what about children? There is work in children. There's work in arid conditions, particularly by Bar David. But how do you separate out what is due to hydration and what is due to heat stress? There is a really nice study done in Wales, actually, which I think gives us a lot of hope for the future. What they have done is they have done memory tests in children, given them a drink of water. So these are children which, as far as they can tell, using the parameters that we have available, are what we would say euhydrated. Then given them 300 mils of tap water. And they've looked at their memory ability before and after, and they've done crossover, so it's quite a robust study. And what they've shown is that short and slightly longer-term memory is improved by giving a child a glass of water. And 300 mils is about the same size as a can of soft drinks. So it's not a tremendous amount. What we do have is we have a lot of evidence from adults. And as a mum, I was always very careful about making sure my children were well hydrated, because I think that evidence is becoming robust enough in adults, and we know that children are that more susceptible, that actually the evidence is gathering that actually we need to be looking at this more carefully. It's particularly important in children because, as I've said, they have higher body water. They need proportionately more. That means that they may not drink as much, but per kilogram body weight they do. They have a much higher water turnover. They have a higher surface area per kilogram, which means that actually there's a bigger surface area for water to be lost through. And their systems aren't mature enough either at the moment. Their systems are still learning how to regulate water. Obviously, the type of beverage is important. What are children drinking? I'll show you what we have found that they're drinking, but on the face of it, you would say they're drinking water, milk, sugar-sweetened beverages, and I'm afraid we all know alcohol. You're probably saying, why the hell she put tea and coffee under sugar-sweetened beverages? I've done that because the National Diet and Nutrition Survey is the way that we find out what people in this country are taking. It was reanalyzed and published last year by NG, Sue Jay, Barry Popkins and people. And they actually classified tea and coffee as sugar-sweetened beverages because it has the potential to provide calories. If you're like me, I drink black tea with no sweetener, so that's a bit ambiguous, but that is why it's there. Obviously, there are lots of issues there, and I think we have confused the public as a profession because we have pushed 5 a day, and I was involved in 5 a day before it was 5 a day. There's pilot studies. And we've gone a long way, but we didn't say to people, actually, don't give your children lots of fruit juice. We didn't say to them, maybe just once a day, because actually there's a lot of sugar in it. And I do think that that's something which is now being regrouped and hopefully being addressed. We won't discuss alcohol. It was on the radio as I came here, and I'm sure you're all familiar with that. Only to say I was involved in a very large study in one of the home counties, and it was quite shocking what 11-year-olds were drinking. In the UK, we, as I said, have the National Diet and Nutrition Survey, but it is primarily a diet survey. They acknowledge that it doesn't capture all drinking events. And this is the data which is used for EFSA. So what I'm saying is maybe EFSA is actually on the low side. So I'm going to quickly go through the study that we have done in this country. Over 400 children were involved across the age groups. We used a different methodology. We used a fluid diary. And outside of home, people were asked to keep little information cards, which they then went back and filled in their diaries. And we looked at drinking events, what was drunk and how much. These are the results for the children. I think the first thing you can see is, actually, isn't there a lot of scatter? There's a great deal of variability in the amount that children drink. The yellow line is the EFSA value corrected just for beverages. And the numbers represent how many of those children aren't meeting the EFSA guidelines. And you can see, actually, it's the adolescents who have the biggest problem looking at that. Overall, if you look at the averages, there isn't a problem. But actually, I find that quite shocking, that 50% of 9 to 13-year-olds aren't drinking enough. What about the type of beverages consumed? There's a lot in the media about this at the moment, and our survey reinforced what everyone else has been saying, that actually, particularly our adolescents, they are consuming a lot of sugar-sweetened beverages and functional foods as well. Sugar-sweetened beverages are the red line, functional foods are the dark brown line, and very little water.